Welcome to the Fit Strong Women Over 50 podcast, episode number 59. Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jill. Many women over 50 know that they want to stay healthy, be fit, and have an active lifestyle, but sometimes feel like they are alone in their journey. So we wanted to create a community to help encourage us. We named it Becoming Ellie because Chris and I are still becoming fit and strong.
And if you are wondering about Ellie, well, there's a story behind that as well. As the legend goes, Ellie is the Norse goddess of aging who was challenged to wrestle none other than Thor in a match. And to everyone's surprise, she won.
Yeah. Obviously, she must have been eating right, working out, and probably even training. We decided to name our community after her because we all want to be fit and strong as we age.
We have our community online, and if you're looking for support in your efforts, consider joining our Becoming Ellie Facebook private group.
And if you're looking for information, check out our website. You can find links at our website, becomingellie.com. Hey, Chris, I saw you bike riding this morning.
Yes, what a fun surprise to look up and see you. And I suspect you were going somewhere to work out as well.
Well, I signed up to do a virtual 5K for this weekend. And because they couldn't do the race in person, you just basically signed up, got your swag bag, and then were committed to running a 5K somewhere. So I was on my way to doing my first 5K of 2020.
That's wonderful. Well, this was my first Kent Loop, my favorite bike ride of the year. And I can't believe Memorial Day weekend, and I'm finally doing the first ride. So my seat is definitely sore, and I can tell I have not been at the gym doing spinning like I used to be. It's a very different thing when you get out of your routines.
Oh, it sure is, definitely.
Yeah.
So this was the first time that I ran a full, 3.1 miles without stopping since, sometime maybe November last year.
Wow.
But so it was a while. And it felt good, but that first mile is always, and it is very different just thinking I'm running a 5K and there's absolutely nobody around doing anything. It was kind of weird.
How does that virtual race feel? It doesn't feel like a regular race, does it? More like
Not
a training
really,
run?
no. It doesn't feel at all like a regular race because there's no ready, set, go.
Mm-hmm.
And this also brings up that my Fitbit died this week.
Oh.
So I'm using a Garmin right now, so I had to just set it, and then I used it to track my distance.
So it sort of works like a stopwatch?
Yeah, I mean, well, just like,
Mm-hmm.
I started it for the run, I hit go,
Mm-hmm.
and when I saw that I had run 3.1 miles, I stopped.
That's the way to do it. So you didn't have a course all figured out of where you were going to run?
I went on a course that I had a pretty good idea of how long it was and that I would have to do 2 loops, but I didn't know it exactly. So the people who put the race on did map out a race, so you could have followed their signs, but I didn't want to drive all the way back to there today to do that race, to do that track.
Sure, that makes sense. Cool.
Yeah, the only obligation was to run the 5K, so I could do it anyway. I could have done it on a treadmill if I had wanted.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there were a lot of options for the virtual race. That's cool.
And instead of giving out a shirt or whatever, they gave us a face mask.
Oh, well, that's very appropriate, isn't it? Very timely.
Yes.
You'll get a lot of use out of that, I'm sure.
You want to hear about my Fitbit saga?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to my Fitbit. I just woke up one morning and it was completely dead, and I ended up talking with support, and they were of little help. So I went with the Charge 4, which is a tracker. I went away from the smartwatch to the tracker, but it's supposed to, it's their newest.
Yeah, it's supposed to be great.
Well, so we'll see, but I figured I might as well get that. I'm anxious for it to get here because I really like
You're
it's
missing.
amazing how much I look at that. So I do have a Garmin watch, but it was a pretty expensive one, and I was just sort of planning on using it for my actual training routines and not wearing it all day long every day.
Right. It's too
So I'd
easy
sort
to
of
get it under the water in the sink or something that you
yeah,
didn't plan
I
on.
just don't want to mess it up. So,
Yeah.
and that was a present, and I been wearing it, but it's not the same because it's not hooked up to my challenges online and, all of those things. So it
Right.
turns out there's more to the Fitbit than just seeing how many steps you've walked.
Yes. Oh, for sure. It started out that way for me, and then it just sucks you right in
It
with
does.
how's
It
your
really does.
sleep doing and how's your,
Yes. We could do competitive sleeping.
I'll probably lose. I'm not doing as well on my sleeping as I want to, but
Yeah. So, I don't want to forget, but a special shout out to Cheryl Keller. She left a comment a few days ago on our YouTube channel. She said, "Love this podcast." It was on the episode Depression Hates a Moving Target with Nita Sweeney. So, thank you very much, Cheryl.
yes, if you're listening, Cheryl, hello, and thanks for leaving that comment. And you're going to like today's guest too. She is someone who helps other women with eating, working out, and training. Her name is Pam Sherman, and she has the perfect balance.
Join us today in our podcast coming right up. Pam Sherman is a wellness specialist. She is the CEO and founder of The Perfect Balance, international motivational speaker, coach, and author.
She was involved in fitness and wellness as a coach and trainer for over 20 years, and now she's a 7-time author, motivational speaker, and coach.
Her mission is to help women take better care of themselves and their health. Pam empowers women to lose weight and gain confidence. She wants to help every woman feel great in their own skin.
After getting hit by a car and only having minor injuries, Pam is even more passionate than ever about spreading the word of self-care. Believe that your health is your greatest wealth. Let's go to the podcast. Welcome to Fit Strong Women Over 50 podcast for the Becoming Ellie community, Pam.
Thank you. It is awesome to be here with you, fellow Ohioans.
Yes, welcome. We're glad that you can talk with us. And I guess we should share that you are originally, or at some point, were from Columbus, Ohio.
I spent middle school, high school, and college there. And it was such an amazing time back in the 80s, not only for music, but to grow up in Ohio.
And now you're in California?
I'm in Sacramento, yes.
Okay, Sacramento. I'd like to start with a bit about your background. In the introduction, we said you've been a wellness coach, trainer, fitness instructor for the last 20 years. Growing up in Ohio or wherever, were you always fit as a teen and young adult, or did that come later in your life?
My dad was actually a runner before it was cool to be a runner. And when I was in 5th grade, I asked if I could go out for a run with him. And he took me to the local high school track. I ran 2 miles without stopping, and it was literally the greatest feeling in the world. So I have been a runner for 42 years now.
Wow.
Very mediocre. Like I was never, the best on the team. But I ran track and cross country in high school. And then my girlfriends and I went to the Ohio State University, where none of us were good enough to run there, but we loved running so much. We'd run the Columbus Marathon every year.
Oh, nice. So I will say my father was also a runner way back before people were runners, and I never once thought to ask to go with him. So I admire you for that.
I did grow up with 2 big brothers back in the days in the 70s when we could run around like wild children, never have to check in with our parents. So they had to babysit me a lot. So I was a tomboy because I had to do all the sports with them. And then it was for me a time to spend with my dad. He traveled a lot for work, and it was not that I could ever keep up with him, mind you. But that was my goal that first day when he just, beat me by many laps. I thought someday I will beat him.
That's cool. Now, in your bio, you mentioned a car accident, and I'm sure it was difficult recovering and getting back into shape afterwards. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that influenced your passion for being fit and strong?
Yes, I was a group exercise instructor and personal trainer all while my kids were growing up, and I loved showing women, because not very many men came into my classes, that they could do more than they thought. They were stronger than they knew, and they could actually push more than they ever knew possible. And that was just fun for me. I've always been a naturally positive, motivated person. And then I was actually out for a training run. My girlfriends and I don't do marathons anymore. That was only when I was young. But we do a race in San Francisco called the Hot Chocolate Run, and it's 9.3 miles. And literally has the best hot chocolate you've ever had in your life at the finish line. That's worth it going anyway. But I was out for a training run, a beautiful day here in December. And, I had my Garmin on, look at my watch, nice, 8:15 pace. I was really happy with that. And then a car sped out of a parking lot taking a right and had only looked left.
Oh
God.
And I put my hand out and I screamed. And I literally did not have time to stop. And so I literally face planted into the windshield and rolled off the car and ended up in the middle lane of traffic.
Oh my gosh.
Luckily for me, it was a Saturday in December, so there was no cars coming. I was able to crawl to the sidewalk. Both my kids grew up playing soccer, and I thought, I might have a concussion. I probably shouldn't stand up. Got to the sidewalk, but I did not break any bones. I did not have any brain injuries. I just lost teeth.
Oh.
And when I went in to go see my sports practitioner, because I knew I needed spinal adjustments for a while, he was very serious. It was like my Oprah aha moment where he looked at me, and I've known him for 11 years or so, and he said, Pam, had you not been in such excellent shape, your injuries would have been far worse. And that was I don't want people to wait until something bad happens to take care of themselves. I want to help women start taking better care of themselves right now. Well, not exactly right then, but a little bit after that.
Right.
So it's partly like avoiding injury, but also if you do have an injury, you can recover more quickly or with less serious consequences.
For sure. I think of the time when I was skiing and I was going down the hill, thinking I'm looking great. All of a sudden I caught a tip, and one minute I was right side up, next minute I was upside down and all full force on my left shoulder.
Ooh.
And in that split second, I thought, I'm so glad I've been working out and lifting, because I could feel that it was a lot of weight and a lot of force, but I didn't hurt. I didn't dislocate. I was fine.
Wow.
Do you think that you're right, Pam? Being in shape, you never know where you might have an accident. I mean, that's why they're called accidents, right?
Yeah. And I was running 5 weeks later. I mean, I had...
Really? Wow.
I had a bruise on my left quad, and it was tender to walk for a little bit, but a couple days, I had to spend one night in the hospital because I had a brain bleed, which cleared up the next day.
Good.
3 days later, I'm in my backyard, like just kind of moving, doing squats and like if I can do push-ups. And my husband goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I just kind of want to feel to see what I can do, because I'm a mover. I'm not a sitter by nature." And then my sports guy said, "You'll be running within 6 weeks," which I was. And I had to take a ton of time off because I do have 6 implants, teeth. I have new teeth. And every time I had surgery, you have to take time off to recover and rest. But
right.
It could have been so much worse. I'm so lucky. And I'm lucky that I had a huge Garmin on my wrist, because I think that's the first thing that hit the ground, because that was smashed to smithereens.
Wow.
But nothing else hurt. I literally was walking. I was walking the next day. It was unbelievable.
Did the driver, that person stopped, I hope?
Not right away, because when I was rolling on the road, I remember looking at the car and thinking, "You've got to be effing kidding me. This is not my life." He did end up pulling back in the parking lot, but his first thought, I'm sure he was very scared. His first thought was, "Get me out of here."
Right.
Wow.
And then when he was behind me, he did pull back around. I said, dude, you were going so fast, I couldn't even stop.
That's so scary. Did the mental aspects of the whole accident affect your physical, recovery at all?
It didn't. I think as women and as moms, we are always so worried about taking care of everybody else. So my kids were at home for Christmas break, and I knew that, my mouth was super sore, but I was really fine. I didn't, the brain bleed cleared up. I could walk. I sound a little bit funny, but it was like I could have died. So everything else is gravy.
Yeah.
When you went out running again, was there any effect on you at that point? Well, one, you were probably very careful about looking for cars,
Yes.
but you were able to just go out and start running again.
I was. I did have one little panic attack once, but I was walking, and it was because a fire truck and an ambulance sped by me while I was on the sidewalk, and I started breathing real fast. I thought, oh, I'm having a panic attack right now. And that's really the only time. It was just one time because I've been running for so long. That's what my body loves to do. So it was more like running is my therapy and my church and what grounds me. So I couldn't wait to go back and get out for a run.
You talk about perfect balance. That's the name of your company.
Yes.
So what balance are you talking about? Yoga, flexibility, balancing food with fitness? I'm just curious as to what that perfect balance is.
Yes, of course. When I started it was when my daughter, who's my youngest, went to first grade, and I had 6 hours to be able to train people and do other things. And I thought I needed to make a name. And she's 20 now. So this was many years ago. This was 14 years ago. And it was just food and fitness then. Now that I'm older and much wiser, it's food, it's fitness, it's sleep, it's stretching, it's self-care, it's loving yourself. It encompasses so much more than just the food and fitness.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I know you're very active online. Will you tell our listeners what you're currently doing and the types of people that you help, the type of clients?
Yes, I've found women are experts at exercise. They could do cardio all day long, but every woman I work with wants to lose weight, and it's never about the exercise because we all know you cannot outrun a bad diet. I coach women now more with their food than anything else. I think I'd rather have them do movement that brings them joy as well as strength train because we all need to have muscles that protect our bones. But I do more food coaching because women want a quick fix, especially in our instant society. But I remind them that whatever body they're in is a result of the choices they've made from the last 3, 6, or 9 months. Therefore, you need to give yourself that much grace on the other side. I mean, unless you get a good flu, you're not losing 10 pounds in 2 days, right?
Well, right.
And I really am a big believer in adding things to Women's Day. Add more vegetables, have an apple when you're hungry, drink more water, go out for a walk when you are bored or lonely or frustrated or, you're looking to binge on something. I try not to restrict anything because restriction always leads to binging. So it's coaching women on, I don't want you to do a diet. Yes, every diet works until you go off it, and you're always going to go off it. So I really try to coach them on becoming the expert on their own bodies. You don't have to eat if you're not hungry. Like if you wake up and you're not hungry, you're not going to mess up your metabolism if you wait 4 hours to eat. Finding your own body clock and eating mostly food grown from the ground, trying to get away from processed food and what I like to call cake in a cup at any coffee shop, because we all know those are enough calories as in a piece of cake, those yummy coffee drinks.
Right.
Yeah. So what's changed over the years? You've been doing this now that I'm sure there are things that maybe you used to suggest that you don't now, or that your clients believed fervently that they don't now, or that you tell them not to. What are some of the new ideas you focus on with your clients?
I want them to now more than ever. I never did this before. I would always have, when I was a group exercise instructor, like a 6-week challenge where people would turn their food journals because I always knew food was the key for losing weight.
Right.
But now I'm really trying to get women to feel their feelings, journal their feelings, and not eat their feelings. Because at the end of the day, we need to learn how to eat for the rest of our lives, not just to drop 10 pounds. Finding coping skills to deal with life. I mean, there's always going to be ups and downs. We all know, like especially this last 8 weeks, a lot of people are eating their desperation, their loneliness, their frustration. But we'll come out of it. We might go back into it again. But journal, call a friend, pet your dog, go out for a walk. And I try to tell them, if you are hungry, eat an apple or broccoli, and then we'll see if you're really hungry.
The one thing I remember from a Michael Pollan book was, if you're not hungry enough to eat an apple, you're not hungry. And I try to remember that when I'm standing there in my kitchen thinking, what do I want to eat? I don't really want that apple.
Right. The refrigerator door is open. I'm letting all the cold air out and staring at the same things that have been in there 2 hours ago. And you're right. Broccoli is the answer, right? So what are some of the most important things for women over 50 to know and do?
I'm really glad you asked that question. I just had a friend who was a client say, Pam, tell me about menopause and do we have to gain weight? And my answer to that is you don't have to gain weight, but you really do have to be diligent on your food, which is what nobody wants to hear. But it's not easy, but it can be done.
Right.
How? You know what? You probably can't drink wine every night. I'm the bearer of bad news there. I know that. But wine is sugar, and we could all do with less sugar.
Right.
Eating more, like I said, more real food, more vegetables, more fiber, things that fill you up. I know there was a gal at my gym 20 years ago. So I was 33, and she said, Pam, wait till you're 50. You're going to gain 20 pounds in a flash. And I thought, really? Like, do you have to? Well, no, but it's a job. When you have to be diligent about what you eat most of the time and not say, it's Friday night, I'm going to eat whatever I want, because I can undo the whole week of good eating, which I used to do all the time, by the way. Before my accident, I struggled with, having a couple adult beverages on a Friday night and then overeating Friday and then having food regret Saturday. And it was a whole cycle of like, when can I get out of this? Well, you can, but it is almost like I always encourage my clients to log their food. Yes, you can have adult beverage. You can't have 10. More than 1 or 2 is going to make you go to the kitchen, and definitely you don't want an apple or broccoli after a couple adult beverages. That's for sure.
Right.
So you have actually sort of answered this, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because I can tell from your YouTube videos that you encourage people to do strength training. But I'm wondering, what else should we be doing? So you have mentioned that you are a runner, but I couldn't tell that. So I wanted to know what you think about endurance sports like running or cycling.
I think we should all be doing exercise that makes us happy. Absolutely 1000%. In fact, I just had a client move to Washington and she said, Pam, what do you think I can do for cardio? Because it was still snowing and raining up there. And I said, well, do you like jump rope? And we were on a Zoom call and she got a huge smile on her face. And she goes, oh my God, I love jump rope. I used to be on a jump rope team.
Oh my.
Oh, she really does love jump rope.
Right. And I was like, great. If you love to run, run. But we lose muscle every decade after 30 unless we do something to prevent that muscle loss.
Right.
That's why so many seniors break a hip or break a wrist when they fall, because they have no muscle to keep them strong. I know women are expert cardio people, right? They can walk all day long. They can be on the elliptical, but they need to strength train to protect their bones. And I want to let women know that old myth of, well, I'm going to get big and bulky happens to exactly no women. So please strength train. It's so good for our bodies.
I have sort of a question. I'm a follow-up question on that. The photos of you that I have seen, you have beautiful arms. What do you do for your arm strength, because you're right. You're not bulky at all, but you have lovely defined arms.
I'm glad you asked that, Jill, because I was wondering that exact same thing.
Chris and Jill, thank you so much. I had a quest for many years to be able to do a pull-up. In fact, when Terminator 2 came out, I was telling my daughter this. Women didn't do pull-ups. You never saw women strength training in the gym. And so for about 25 years, I wanted to do one and never practiced. And then one of my friends told me she knew somebody who could put a pull-up bar in my backyard. And so I paid this guy to put a pull-up bar in my backyard, and I started working on them. And it is hard work. I want to say I worked on them for about 3 months before I got to one. And then I got hit, and my sports guy's like, yeah, you can't do pull-ups for a while because your neck's all jacked up. But once he gave me the go-ahead, I work on them frequently. And I'm not doing tons, but they are a regular part of my workout routine because, I shouldn't have to wait 27 years to do something that feels pretty darn cool. So I do them most days of the week because I can. Yeah. But pulling your body weight up is great. Is a great workout.
Well, that's very motivating to me because Chris knows that I did a big ramp up a few years ago to do a pull up
and achieved it.
I did achieve it, but unfortunately, I was working with a trainer at the time, and then he left, and I got a different trainer, and I cannot do a pull-up right now. So, but it's been nagging at me that I worked so hard to do that. So your comment about women not doing it, that was the discussion I had with my trainer at the time, who was a young man, and he said, I can't imagine that as a percentage of women your age that can do a pull-up. He said, you have to be in a very small percentage.
Absolutely.
For your demographic. That was a wonderful feeling. So you are inspiring me.
Well, and what I tell women to do is there is a method to working on it is don't start at the bottom. Don't start in a full hang. I have a little step stool underneath my pull-up bar and I jump up so my chin is over the bar and I started with little tiny negatives. So I would go down an inch or two and then come back up. Then
nice.
As you get stronger, you can go down a little bit lower. But I don't know any woman that from the get-go can pull themselves up from the bottom.
Yeah. The upper body strength. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. As women, we can crush people with our legs, but we inherently do not have upper body strength.
Well, to add on to that discussion, in terms of exercising, how often should we be exercising and for how long?
I think our bodies are meant to move every day. And by movement, I think take your dog for a walk, right? Do something fun that you enjoy. And with YouTube now, that's free. I mean, you could go to Taibo or you could go to high impact aerobics or belly dancing. I think we should move every day. Specific exercise. I would love women to do strength training 3 times a week, if not 4, because I want women to stay strong as we age. And it is doable. And right now, I have to tell you, Jill and Chris, I work out less now than I ever have. When I was running marathons, I would run for hours.
Sure.
Yeah, most of my workouts are maybe 25 minutes now, but it's smarter. It's not longer, right? It's more concise.
So you would recommend that we change exercise how when we age, like shorter or more concise or strength?
I look back on the days when I was teaching in my early 30s and 40s. It was all about, I'm going to kill it, right? We're going to work out as hard as we can for an hour. Well, right. I don't have the energy to do that anymore. But I think we can do shorter. That's why on my YouTube channel, I have 10-minute workout videos because you could put 2 or 3 of those together and call it a day. You don't have to work out for an hour. If you did 20 minutes of strength training a couple times a week, that would be amazing. And I find women especially, we're overachievers. So we think if we can't work out for an hour, why do it? Well, if you do 20 minutes of something that's great work, you feel accomplished and it is enough. You don't ever have to go to that, I'm going to crush it. We don't have to crush it. We just have to stay strong, really.
Right. So you do still run. You just don't run long distances.
I do. In fact, I have a running partner. I'm super lucky. And we'll do hill repeats. We don't run very long anymore. But in fact, she came over this morning and I looked at her and said, do you want to suffer a little bit today? And she's always up for anything. So we did, I have a loop in my neighborhood that's 0.33 because I'm a geek and I had my Garmin on and I know this. So we ran, as fast as we could around it, and then came to my backyard and did some squats and pull-ups and dips in between. And it was really fun. So I'm more interested in like short, doing hills or sprints instead of the longer stuff.
Okay. Nice.
But yes, if you love endurance, I have a girlfriend who runs still she just got into the Western States 100, but she got canceled this year. She loves it. And she'll, post about how she had an amazing 18-mile run, and she loves it. Great for her. If you love to do it, I would say make sure you're fueling correctly for that. Because I knew back in the 80s, we did not know anything about fueling. That is for certain. And make sure you recover, because stretching is so important, especially after endurance events. And make sure you're getting enough liquid, and make sure you have enough salt, all the things that you need to do to help your body repair.
Right.
I'm a very active reader, and I know many of the people in our Becoming Ellie community love to read as well. So let's talk about your books for a minute. You have several of them.
I do.
If there was one that our listeners should buy or download, which one is that? Why?
It's interesting. I never pictured myself as writing books, but after my accident, I started training my daughter's soccer team once a week.
Oh.
And just with strength training, because they did their own soccer training, and they would confess to me what they ate, and it was all crap. So I wrote my book, Nutrition for Athletes, just for younger people to teach them how to eat, because you can't have Taco Bell and expect to play well in a game.
Exactly.
Right. And then I had another friend's daughter. She was about to go to college, and she said, Pam, I'm so scared of getting the freshman 15. Can you help me? And I said, can I help you? I was an overachiever. I gained the freshman 35 at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Not only will I
have good pizza.
Oh, it was amazing. That is for sure. But my last one, I think, helps a lot of women stuck. I made the Perfect Balance workbook, because I think women look at losing weight as just a short term, like, what can I do in a month? I got to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks. But there's really so much more to weight loss than just, here's what I have to do. It's finding your why. It's changing your habits. It's thinking about, we all have family members or friends that sabotage us. Who is that going to be? Learning how to say no. I mean, there's a whole, mental part of losing weight that once you attack that whole thing, it helps you be successful on that journey. So I think my workbook is not something you read, but it's helped, I think, the most women on their journey. I think my Perfect Balance Healthy Guide to Living is great, because it does talk about stress and sleep and learning to say no and loving yourself and, food and movement. So it's the most all-encompassing one.
Okay. That's the Perfect Balance Healthy Guide to Living?
Yes.
And I assume that the Perfect Balance workbook sort of ties in with it?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I know you say that most women want to lose weight. Any advice about women who maybe have lost the weight and how to keep that weight off, or, to maintain your weight loss?
Yes, it's interesting that so many women, they think that's the end, right? That's the finish line when they lose it and they get to that magic number on the scale.
That's kind of the beginning, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. Yes. And I have seen, I'm sure you ladies have as well, so many people go. Now, I mean, I'm 53, so you guys were probably all in the same age bracket. Do the South Beach, do the Atkins, do the Jenny Craig, do the Weight Watchers, do everything. But it didn't really teach them how to eat. So depending on how they lost the weight, I feel like we all have to figure out our own body clocks. And if you did something like a Jenny Craig, you have to figure out your own body no matter what. And you have to know what works for you, and know that on maintenance, you just can't let it all go. You can't say, it's Friday, I'm going to eat whatever I want for Friday and Saturday, and then I'll get back on track Sunday. It's really about being aware pretty much every day of, let's get enough veg, let's get water, let's get enough sleep, which sleep is my number one on the things to do to stay healthy and to actually maintain your weight. Because if you don't sleep, your brain is going to crave sugar, and you're not going to want to move your body. And you're going to open the fridge and go, oh, forget the apple and the broccoli. I want the leftover, whatever. And it is kind of a job for the rest of your life. You have to be diligent on it, because the moment that you let a week slide or 2 week slide, you get on the scale and go, oh my God, where'd those 5 pounds come from?
Yeah, exactly. Well, full disclosure, I know you said we're in the same age bracket, but I'm actually 10 years older. I'm 63. But when I started my get fit kind of journey, I was 50 and lost the weight, but I found that maintaining is, I wouldn't say more difficult, but it's harder to find resources. And so talking with someone like you who really understands food, nutrition, diet, working out, and your opinions and recommendations really make a difference. If there was like one or two things that you would suggest for a woman over 50 to maintain, like what would those be?
I would say MyFitnessPal is a great tool to use for everybody, and it's very user friendly.
Yes.
And even though I've heard, oh my gosh, Pam, it's so hard. I forget to do it. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. It is really the accountability of you got to know how much you're eating every day.
Okay.
And when
Good,
women,
good.
I just had a gal, we had a call and I said, wait, how come that day you only ate 700 calories? And she was, oh, I didn't put in dinner. I'm like, just guess. Don't leave it blank. Just guess. But kind of knowing how much you can get away with every day. Like we all have a maintenance number. And if you gain weight, oh, I ate too much last week, so I'm going to dial it back a little bit, not making huge changes. I would say that. And I would say the more you can add vegetables into every day, the better off you're going to be, because they add a lot of fiber. They keep you full. They have so many good vitamins and minerals that are just amazing for our bodies. And I know a lot of women look at food as how little can I eat, but I want them to put amazing nutrients in their bodies every day as well.
How do you eat? Do you do vegan, keto, no sugar, no grains, whatever? Any specific diet or anything that you particularly follow?
Well, first of all, congratulations on your health journey. We didn't talk about any of our own issues with our own success, I should say, on our weight loss journeys. I'm sure we all have. I want to hear yours too, because I don't know your journeys. I don't love keto for anybody except for it's been shown to be great for people with epilepsy, because that high fat is great for their brains. In my experience, women don't do great on high fat diets. Fat is yummy and delicious, but it also is a lot of calories. And it's easy when they say just have a handful of nuts, that handful of nuts can be 400 calories.
Right.
My eating changed after my accident, actually. I couldn't eat solid foods for 3 months because my mouth was so sore.
Oh.
And it made me reevaluate, like, when am I actually hungry? Because I think we all grew up with the breakfast is the most important meal of the day slogan, which was made by Kellogg's in the 60s when they came out with cereal.
Wow.
So it's not actually the most important meal of the day. And I did discover after, when I could eat again, I'm like, you know what? I'm really not super hungry in the mornings. After I work out, I'll have a scoop of protein powder in my little magic bullet with some coffee and make a protein mocha. And I'm pretty full till lunch. So I'll have an early lunch, usually like 11:30 or so. And I do an insane amount, probably 4 servings or so, maybe 5 of I either make big salads or I roast vegetables and a protein shake. And that keeps me full until dinner, because it is a big bowl of veg, let me tell you. And it's healthy fat. So in my book, my rules of weight loss, I go over, your perfect meal is carbs, protein, and fat. If you are missing one of those, you are going to be hungry very soon. So we, as women, are expert carb eaters. We could all put down a loaf of sourdough bread like nobody's business.
Right.
But we're hungry in an hour because it's all sugar. And then my dinner is very similar, just a ton of veg with, any kind of nut. I love nuts, avocados, and a protein shake, a veggie burger. Since my kids I'm an empty nester, or I was before COVID, I don't love to cook meat. So I have some high quality protein shakes. So we'll do protein shakes a lot, protein pancakes, something like that. But I probably get 8 to 10 servings of veg a day because they keep me full.
Okay.
And I want to be full.
So you're instead of cooking meat to go with your salad, you're simply using a protein shake to make sure you get the protein.
I do. Or make protein pancakes with some eggs and a serving of protein, and that's super yummy because I'm more of a sweet girl than a salty girl. I don't really crave chips. So I'll make up some pancakes, or like, especially now in the summer, now it's hot, the protein shakes are delicious.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. What do you put on your pancakes?
I love PB2, the powdered peanut butter.
All right.
And I'll mix that with either almond milk or water, and I drizzle that over the pancakes, and it's yummy and delicious.
Yeah, that PB2 is good.
That's a good idea. Because I look at those protein pancakes and I think that'd be good, but if I pour maple syrup all over it, that's going to sort of defeat the purpose.
Oh my gosh, maple syrup it's so delicious, but literally it's crazy high in calories.
Yeah.
It is delicious, but yes, it is.
Even honey is so high. It's natural, but it's still very sweet. Very, very sweet.
Can you tell me about your guys' weight loss journeys or your fitness journeys?
Do you want to start, Chris?
Well, when I turned 50, I went to the doctor expecting to get a prescription for a colonoscopy, because that's what you always hear about when you turn 50. And instead, he's looked me straight in the eye and he said, "You've got to lose weight." And I was not expecting that at all.
Wow.
Well, I did need to lose weight, obviously. I weighed well over 200 pounds. And so I said, well, I've tried lots of things. And he said, go to Weight Watchers. So I did. And it actually took me 5 years to hit my goal weight because I went very slowly. I kept thinking to myself, I put this on slowly, so I'm not going to try to take it off fast because that's been every other diet I ever did.
Yep.
So by the time I was 55, I hit my goal weight, and I'm 63 now, and done a whole variety of, I don't want to say tricks to try to keep it off, but I know that working out about 60 minutes a day, and it doesn't have to be a hard workout, just a moderate workout, really helps me stay focused on the food that I should eat, not that I want to eat. So that's partly why I was so interested in developing the podcast and the community with Jill. Jill and I met and started running together. Jill, I'll let you tell that story. So you tell your part.
I had gained weight just, how we do over time, sort of slowly over the years. And at some point, I'm tall, fairly tall. And I got to the point, I guess it doesn't matter what my height is, but except that, you sort of slowly go up in size. And I got to the point where I couldn't buy my clothing in the normal women's, Mrs., whatever you call it, size. And I thought, okay, this is it. I'm done. I've got to make a change here. So I did lose weight, and I have to say I have tried a number of different things, and everything, exactly what you were saying, things work until they don't. So I lost weight through a variety of different ways. And what I really found, I think, is that I have a pretty good idea now of what I can eat and should eat or shouldn't eat. I tried keto there for a while, a few years ago, and had horrible skin reaction to it. I think it was the saturated fat, but I don't really know. But something happened. So I don't do that at all.
That's good. I'm glad.
So I have never been an athletic person. I have always been a reader, a writer. I never, ever envisioned myself as an athlete. But at some point I bought a gym membership because I thought, well, I have to do something. And I became the cardio queen. I lived on that elliptical. But the gym had free, you got the trainer would go through and give you a workout. And so I would, because I was paying for it, I got my workout every 6 months or 3 months or whatever. And there was a young man at that gym who said to me, "You're ready to not be using these machines. Let's take you to the free weights." And I was very uncomfortable at first with doing that. But then all of a sudden I thought, this is great. I love this. So I was like, all of a sudden it kicked in that there's a lot of advantages to having strength.
Amazing.
And then somewhere in there, I decided to start running, and I did my couch to 5K. And Chris and I, we were renting offices in the same place. So we would talk about our running thing, we signed up to do a relay race at the Akron Marathon, and we got a team together, and we each had to run 5 miles. Maybe I'm getting this out of order, Chris, because at some point we thought we were signing up for a 5K Christmas race, and it turned out it was 5 miles. I think that one came first, and because we both sort of looked at each other and said, "Oh, I thought it was 5K. That's a lot different."
Well, we signed up for the relay in the fall, but I think that this Christmas race we thought would be a training race for the following fall, and we thought it was, a 3-mile 5K, but no, it was 5 miles. I'm like, oh no.
That's a big difference.
Well, it is a big difference, but we decided, well, we could do it, so we did.
Mm-hmm. It was fun.
And we had a lot of fun then when we did the relay. Well, the next year we did the relay race again. And 2 weeks before our race, we had 5 people on the team. 2 of our team members, for injury or whatever, had to bow out. So we had to quickly find 2 substitutes,
Right.
which we did. We didn't know them very well, but because they were friends of friends, that kind of thing. But Chris and I both said, that's our goal. We want to be able to run a 5-mile, 6-mile relay with absolutely no notice. We want to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good goal. And so I think of that I try to maintain at least some kind of running ability.
Right. And then the following year, we decided, heck with this team stuff, and we both ran the half marathon.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's a big leap.
It was.
It was.
It was. It's been very fun till I got injured, and I haven't been running much since then.
What kind of injury?
My old injury from college kicked in, and I've got this Achilles problem that I constantly deal with. So, whatever. So now I do different things,
I'm sorry.
Chris does a lot of bike riding now.
So I want to get back to you, Pam.
Thank you for sharing. I love it. I always like to hear women's stories.
During our last episode of Fit Strong Women Over 50, we talked with an intermittent fasting expert, and several women in our group had followed that eating pattern, and we were interested in talking about that. And I just wondered if you've ever tried it and what your opinion about it is about intermittent fasting.
I think it's great. Actually, in 2014, I had put on 20 pounds myself. It was a super stressful time. I actually had a running injury. I watched my dad decline and eventually die of Alzheimer's. And 20 pounds came on my body, even though I wasn't drinking a lot. I wasn't having hot fudge sundaes every night, but I was having too many calories, which always puts weight on. But I did come across a plan that talked about, this guy wrote a book called Eat, Stop, Eat. And this was, like I said, 6 years ago, before it was even, it's now a very common term. He's like, this is never going to make a lot of money because we're telling people not to eat. There's no products to buy. You're just eating less often. And that's really where it was like, oh, okay. And our bodies actually function better if we're not eating, 5 or 6 times a day. And it's the giving your body a break from digesting, and it's supposed to give you better mental clarity. I think there is a right number for everyone. I have tried it. I feel like I'm a dirty intermittent faster because I will have like almond milk in my coffee and I'll have that scoop of protein powder, but I don't actually eat until lunch. But the strict people only have coffee, or tea with nothing in it until they eat. I think it's great because I think we've been sold a false bill of goods from food companies that we have to eat 5 times a day. And as somebody who wants women to feel better in their skin, I don't want women to think about food 5 times a day. That's exhausting. Always thinking about, okay, what's my next snack? And I'd rather have them eat, 2 or 3 times a day than think about food 5 times a day.
Yeah.
So I think it's great. It is a great tool. It's really finding out what works best for your body. I know women that wake up ravenous. You know what? If you're ravenous and you get lightheaded, I think you should eat when you get up. If you're like, I'm not super hungry, put off having your first meal, like by an hour or 2, and then see how you feel. I don't think it's good to be so strict. Like you have to do, I know the 16-8 is super popular. They say that works really well, but finding out your own body clock and what works best for you is always, in my opinion, going to be the key to success for so many women.
Yeah. I've never been a big breakfast eater. I mean, I like breakfast. I like going out for breakfast, like for brunch or that kind of thing. But getting up and eating first thing has never been high on my list. So having it suddenly be okay to say, I'm not going to eat breakfast until 10 o'clock or whatever is kind of nice.
Well, it's really nice. And I am a big quantity eater. I want to eat a ton of food. So for me, if I only eat 2 meals, I get 2 really big meals. And that makes me so happy.
Yeah, I'm a quantity eater too. I like a lot of vegetables. I'll make this huge vegetable salad. Jill knows I always use this as my go-to recipe. But I call it my no panic potluck salad because I always panic when I have to go to a potluck. And so then I think, I'll make that salad with lots of different vegetables in it. But you can eat a ton of that and it's so good for you,
Every single time. It's, in fact, I post on my stories on Instagram. I call it a BAS, a big ass salad. And I'm like, everybody needs to have a big ass salad every day, really.
Would you mind sharing your recipe for the BAS with us? Like you could send it to us and we'd post that as part of the show notes.
Absolutely, yes.
That's cool.
I found for me that regular lettuce, whether it's spinach or the spring mix, that doesn't really keep me full. So my secret is chopping up green cabbage, and putting it in there.
Yes.
Because that's a little bit more fibrous.
Yeah. I have to agree with you. The spinach and the lettuce doesn't last long. So it's good to have secrets like that. Good.
And you know what I use for croutons?
What?
You're going to laugh. I actually cook either yellow or green zucchini in my air fryer.
Ah.
And I put those on top, and the air fryer takes the water out, and that makes them a little puffy and crispy.
What a great idea.
They're so delicious.
I'm going to try that.
So you just slice up the zucchini or the yellow squash and throw them in your air fryer for a period of time. And
I do, and I put olive oil spray on and salt, so they're like little salty, crispy nuggets of yumminess.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That does sound good.
And you're not getting your kitchen hot, especially now that it's getting to be summer. It takes 15, 16 minutes maybe. I do that before I start chopping anything else, so that by the time the salad's done, I just dump that on top. My family does not like that, so more for me, yay. And I only use my air fryer for my veg, and they're so good.
Wow.
We mentioned this slightly, but that we're all in various stages of the COVID-19 quarantine or various stages of reopening. Can you tell us about your quarantine routine?
I'm very lucky because I have a gym in my backyard. I mean, not only my pull-up bar, but I have dumbbells. I have some toys from LeBert Fitness. I have a really awful bike, the kind that CrossFit people use. And I work from home and all my stuff is online. So my personal routine has not really changed a whole lot. I get up every day. I have my 2 cups of coffee and read the paper, and then I work out. I'm a first thing in the morning worker-outer.
Okay.
That's my high energy time. Then I start my day, depending on what appointments I have, appointments, Zoom calls, I should say. Lunches, I said 11:30, usually 12. I do have to go to the store probably 3 times a week, 2 or 3, because we eat so many vegetables in my house.
Right.
There's only so much I can buy at a time. I take my dog for a couple walks a day, and then dinner's usually at 5:30. I love to read, whether it's magazines, newspapers, books. And my daughter and I, she's home for COVID. We like to watch cooking shows. So I watch cooking shows. I like I said, I'm very fortunate. My husband, he's been traveling normally before this, and he's been at home. And I'm very lucky. We all like each other, and we still have fun together. So it hasn't been an awful experience for my family.
That's great.
That's good.
Are there any fitness food must-dos or anything that's a total avoid?
Well, it's funny when this first happened 8 weeks ago, I was on my stories. I'm like, I'm at the grocery store again, and there is still no shortage of fruits and vegetables at the grocery store. People were buying bread like crazy and pasta like crazy, which my family's gluten-free, so we don't do a lot of that stuff anyway. I would say my food must-dos are I always have to have apples in my fridge, and I always have to have stuff for salad every single day.
Gotcha.
So when this whole thing first started, I remember going to the grocery store. I had been out of town and I was sort of anxious to get back because I kept hearing about everything closing. So when I got back, I had to go to the grocery store, and it was a Saturday night, and I walked in and it was like all the produce. There was beautiful greens and everything was there. The only thing that was sold out were the potatoes, which made me laugh because you could sort of tell where people were heading with the whole thing.
Potatoes and bread.
Yeah, bread. But I only made it to the produce section and realized that there was not a potato to be had in the store. But I was fine because I was able to buy any kind of green I wanted.
It was amazing that people. It's funny what they hoarded: toilet paper and potatoes.
All right, and the bread, and yeah. I was going to ask you about if there was any certain foods that you make sure you prepare, and it sounds like it's a salad.
You know what? We have 1 or 2 big ass salads every day, for sure. So I never run out of veg, and I'm lucky enough to live literally across the street from a grocery store. We always have pears and apples. Now berries, because my best salads have 1 fruit, 1 nut, and 1 cheese. And then the lettuce and cabbage and dressing. I think that's the perfect combination to make it super yummy.
1 fruit, 1 nut, 1 cheese.
Cabbage.
Oh, and cabbage. I'm writing this down.
Me too. And dressing? Is that what you said?
No, but I actually do make the dressing. And you know what? Balsamic onions also make every salad taste delicious. I gotta say. And they don't take very long to cook.
What kind of cheese do you put on the salad?
We do goat cheese because my family can't do dairy or so no blue cheese, no harm. But I do personally, I love feta or gorgonzola. I'm okay with dairy, but my husband and daughter can't have it in there. So we do either like the crumbled goat cheese or like the log of the honey goat cheese, which because we're in summer and strawberries are in season, if you do strawberries, whatever cheese you love, and fresh basil in with your greens, that's amazing.
Oh, that sounds good.
Because strawberries and basil go so well together.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And plus it's pretty, right? Anytime you get like spinach and strawberries, it's beautiful. And for me, I love a colorful plate or bowl.
I like the idea of just sort of saying, I'm going to have 1 fruit, 1 nut, 1 cheese on my salad with the cabbage. And I assume you could do something like kale too with the cabbage.
You absolutely can. Although I know with kale, you got to put the either lemon or olive oil on it to massage it first so it gets a little bit less dense, I guess.
Bitter.
Yeah, bitter.
Do you have we keep calling it the new normal. Do you have a new normal workout training routine that you've adopted since the beginning of this quarantine?
I haven't had to change it. My running partner and I, we kept running. We meet twice a week. And then because the gyms around here close and because my backyard is a gym, she would come over once a week, and she's such a good sport. And I'm like, how about this today? She's like, okay. I just got a box for box jumps for my birthday, and she loves box jumps, and her legs are so long. She's so amazing at them. So whenever she comes over now, we make sure to include those in our workout. In April was my birthday month, and I started to do 25 pull-ups a day, not in a row.
Wow.
Wow.
So I started doing that. And then I hit my birthday, which was on the 25th, which is why I did 25. And I thought, well, I shouldn't stop. I have a pull-up bar in my backyard. So I've been doing 25 pull-ups a day since April 1st.
So awesome.
You can get there as well. It just takes practice.
Yeah. And
even if you have a park close to your house, I mean, you could practice at a park. You could get one of the things for your door frame. You always want to, it's just honestly, it's practice.
Mm-hmm.
How do you define the word fit?
Fit is mind and body. because I find so many women are very awful to themselves in their head. I've read some studies that even say 85% of our self-talk is negative. So I think being fit requires a healthy mindset as well as moving your body in ways that makes you happy. Talking to yourself like you talk to your best friend, or like you talk to your pet, or like you talk to your child, because you would never say anything that you'd normally say to yourself to those people. So being kind to yourself, loving yourself. In fact, I've talked to quite a few of my clients, and whatever you say to your pet first thing in the morning, go to the mirror and say that to yourself in the same voice.
Oh, you're so pretty.
Right?
Oh, how did you sleep last night? Oh, you're the cutest little thing.
In the same baby voice, looking at yourself in the eyes, saying that, because so much of our talk is, oh, my stomach is so gross. My butt is so jiggly, whatever it is. How about waking up with a little self-care and self-love, them being mentally fit? And then I really want women to not use exercise as torture or as just a mechanism to lose weight. I want them to move in a way. That's why I want them to move in a way that brings them joy, like the jump rope, story that makes her so happy. Running makes me so happy. And it's interesting now, Chris and Jill, I was the former marathon runner where that brought me joy. Now that just sounds exhausting. I'll run a mile and I'm so happy, like a mile warm up before I lift in my backyard. And that makes me so happy. Like 20 years ago, if you would have said run a mile, I'd be like, it's not worth my time. And now I'm like, I get to run a mile.
Well, yeah, different things appeal at different stages of the life, for sure. It's funny how life changes.
Well, and I just got my latest issue of Runner's World, and there was a whole article on streaking in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
not streaking naked, though.
Not streaking naked, but reasons why different runners have kept a running streak, whether it's going through cancer treatments or going through divorce, whatever the hard time is. And my daughter, she read it and she's like, hey, I'm going to run a mile every day because she just went through finals. And I said, well, I'll do that with you. And because I'm still the geek, I keep my time, and we have a little chart. We write our times up every day, and it's kind of fun to see how fast you can run 1 mile in.
Yeah. That's a cool thing. Well, we've been asking you lots of questions, but I'm sure there's one more thing. Like, what else that we didn't ask you that I should know about? What's that one question that we haven't covered?
We've done an amazing job of talking about everything, but I just want women to know that even fitness professionals, I've struggled with my weight. Don't think that because of how somebody looks now that they have not struggled. We have all had our own struggles. It's never, ever hopeless. I just had somebody tell me this week, well, I'm too old. You're never too old. And I will tell you this, I talked to my mother-in-law on her 70th birthday. She's over 80. She's 82 now. And I was like, what's the best 3 things in your life? And then what's the worst 3 things? And she said, number 1, her worst thing was her weight. In the whole scheme of life, our weight is the only thing we actually have control over. And I don't want any woman to think it's helpless or it's too late. But I do want them to know that it is all about making small changes daily that always lead to long-term success. It's consistency and time. That's it. There's no magic key or magic bullet. It is, let's track your calories. Let's make sure you're eating a ton of vegetables. You're drinking enough water. And let's make sure you're not comforting yourself by going through the drive-through coffee place that has your favorite 500 calorie drink.
Yeah, right.
Right. I want women to know that they can change and they can feel amazing in their own skin. It's never going to be an overnight process, though. But it does start with talking to yourself like you talk to your dog. Let's give yourself some self-love first.
Self-love, right.
That is excellent advice. So what is next for you?
I just started the Perfect Balance Tribe. It's a private Facebook group because I want to inspire and motivate women on their journey. I stopped teaching when I got hit. I tried to come back, and I had too many surgeries to go through, and I couldn't do it. But I love teaching so much, and I love inspiring women. So what I do every day is I post daily inspirational messages. On Mondays, we do yoga, like 15. None of my things are more than 15 minutes. yoga on Mondays. We stretch on Tuesday and Thursday. We do a workout on Wednesday morning, and then we have a Facebook Live call on Monday nights where we talk about anything, food, fitness, anything. Is I want to grow my community of women who want to talk about food and fitness, who want support on their journey, who want to be like you guys, build a community of women that want to be fit and fabulous.
Right.
So it's barely over a month old, and I'm super excited about it because these are my people, and I want to build more of my people into that group. And it's fun to do Facebook Live because you can see who's on the workout with you or on the stretch with you, and all those videos that I make are on that page, so people can do them at any time.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, if our listeners have any questions for you, or they want to look at your website and things, how do they find you?
My website is theperfectbalance.guru. And if you're interested in the tribe, I'm happy to give you a month free. There's a button on my website that says join the tribe, and you could put in free month in all caps in the coupon code. Try it out for a month. And if you like it, it's $9.99 a month after that. So 2 cups of coffee after that.
That 500 calorie coffee
that you're going to have because you're not driving through the drive-through.
Correct. But even if you went for a little latte with your friend, that's still about $3 or $4.
So the free month, is it 2 words or 1 word?
It's just 1 word, free month.
Okay.
My YouTube channel is The Perfect Balance. If you want, I have a stretching playlist. I have a 10-minute playlist. I have a 5-minute playlist. I just want to help you move. And I'm all about good form because I know, Jill and Chris, so many things are all about, I don't want you to go fast. I just want you to have perfect form when you do it and have a little bit of fun along the way.
That's great. All right. We'll put links in the show notes too for these.
And I will send you my perfect salad recipe as well.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks so much for being on the podcast today and sharing all your insights.
I love that we connected and we had such a fun talk.
Yes, we did. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
It was a pleasure getting to know you, and I look forward to learning more. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I really enjoyed talking with Pam, and she sent us the salad recipe for the BAS, Big Ass Salad. The link to the recipe with the photos is in this episode's show notes.
She really did inspire me about getting back to doing my pull-up. So since we talked with her, I've been online looking at pull-up bars that I could maybe have installed in the. So I have a room set up right now in my condo, as I'm calling the cardio room, but I'm just going to maybe make it the home gym and put a pull-up bar in there somehow. When I was doing all the work to do the pull-up, I really enjoyed that, and I felt so good being strong and having nice looking arms, and
that upper body strength is awesome. Yeah,
it really is. And seeing the pictures of Pam, so listeners, be sure you look at the show notes or the pictures with our podcast episode, because Pam really does have impressive arms. She really did inspire me with that. And I'm going to, if the gym opens, I can probably just do it all at the gym. But if not, I'm going to have to figure out a way to be doing some kind of pull-up work at home.
Yep. Every time you go past that doorway, do your pull-ups.
Do something. Yep.
That's cool. Well, I like that she has a community too. And it sounds like it's a very active community. Working together with accountability, new ideas, and friends, it makes getting fit and strong even so much more fun.
It really does. It's amazing how much community helps with that. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please tell a friend, or consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, or leave a rating for the Fit Strong Women Over 50 podcast. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest.
And don't forget to sign up for our mailing list so that you don't miss any of our articles or podcasts. You can sign up at becomingellie.com. Ellie is spelled E-L-L-I. Well, thank you for listening, and be sure to check back with us for our next episode.
I'm looking forward to talking to you again on the next episode of the Fit Strong Women Over 50 podcast. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.